Hello everybody, Flappy Waffle 69 here, coming at you on this gorgeous Wednesday morning, at least the time that I'm recording the video. Today I have a battle report on the USS Puerto Rico, the Tier 10 American super cruiser. I still call it a battle cruiser. That's just my designation for it. But yeah, a lot of people are now calling them like super heavy cruisers or whatnot. When the likes of like the Stalingrad and Siegfried, Kronstadt, those kind of ships, etc. Um, so what is this battle cruiser, super cruiser kind of thing? Well, basically what it is you have just under battleship firepower, rivaling battleships, so you can deal with them. And you have a little bit more improved armor to basically not. I mean, let's be honest, overmatch is still a big thing, so I don't want to say you can be able to like tank certain ships or whatnot. But you have a little bit more armor to kind of have a higher chance of having ricochets and dealing with them, and plus the larger HP pool, right, which is always super nice. But yeah, your main role in these things is to absolutely dummy cruisers. And support your allied battleships with dealing with enemy battleships. But definitely your primary targets are the cruisers, that is for sure. So, what is the USS Puerto Rico? Well, obviously, this ship has a very famous history with the game in the regards that it was the first ever dockyard ship that was an absolute dumpster fire, I believe was the exact words that people quoted it. And it was. I think that was not the first, but definitely the first big, I guess, event that really brought shed a lot of light to people's eyes about just how scummy Wargaming is as a company with their business practices and their deceitful advertising and whatnot. So, but yeah, so this Puerto Rico kind of has that history going along with it. Not to mention they did bring it back though because a lot of players didn't have access to the ship or spent a lot of money and still didn't get the ship because it was hella grindy. To get her, and yeah, no one had the time or the patience to do that. And I don't know, maybe people wanted to spend money on their kids and Christmas presents and on their loved ones and spent time, right? And instead, Wargaming's like, nope, we want you to just play World of Warships and grind multiple lines to achieve one mission. So yeah, enough about that bullshit though. We're here talking about the Puerto Rico, and this is a game I had in the USS Puerto Rico. I see these large, battle cruisers, super cruisers played very poorly nowadays. I think the most common one is the Stalingrad. Though the Stalingrad, in my opinion, is played, I guess, it's an easier play style. Like a general consensus around how to play the Stalingrad is probably a little bit more well known. As it is the whole bow tanking, reversing, going forward, kind of whatnot. You really don't have a third turret or a rear turret on that thing. If you're playing her the way you're supposed to be playing her, and I think the community kind of gets that a little bit more. But like the other bigger ships, the Kronstadts, the Kronstadts, the Aegers, the Siegfrieds, the Puerto Ricos, these sort of ships, I feel like a lot of players don't know what they're doing, and I think that's why you don't see them doing too well in games. I think it's really rare to see these ships do very, very have really, really effective games consistently, right? You see them finishing more middle to lower on the team scales, right, with lower base XP. But the reason I'm showcasing this game for you guys was this is the first game I played in Puerto Rico in a while. And I happened to get an E rank, an expert rank on her, which is awesome. But based upon the final damage calculations and kind of my whole overall battle impact, I mean, it kind of just goes to show you, like, wow, I didn't think I was going to achieve an E rank with my final, outcome, my post-battle results based upon the game. I didn't think I was going to get that. So, as you're seeing, let's just enough talking about that shit. Let's talk about the ship a little bit about itself. You're seeing these massive AP salvos. I believe this is a cruiser that has, is it battleship dispersion? I believe it is battleship dispersion. Could be wrong on that one, guys. I don't want to really get too much into it and spread false information for you guys. But yeah, the AP on this thing absolutely chunks, as you're seeing. I believe in total for all tier 10 ships at this tier, I do believe you have the largest broadside, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong about that though. Let me just double check for you guys for an AP salvo. Yeah, it is the Puerto Rico. I mean, wow. I mean, 106,800 for an AP salvo. The next ship rivaling that is the Marseille with an 87,000, and the Stalingrad having 82,000. So yeah, this thing's guns, whereas they have the hitting potential, the biggest frustration with these guns probably is the accuracy of the guns would be my guess. That a lot of players don't like. I mean, yeah, for example, if we're taking at 12 kilometers as our base range, standardizing across across the board for all of our cruisers we're comparing to, I mean, the Puerto Rico has 180 meters horizontal dispersion and 95 meters vertical dispersion. The next worst one, or the next one, next to that would be the Marseille with 149 meters horizontal dispersion and 78 meters vertical dispersion. And then one that everyone should know would be the Stalingrad that has 149 meters horizontal and 77 meters with a vertical dispersion. So you can kind of see that this thing is kind of on its own planet in regards to its guns. But that being said, you get this 2.2 Sigma, so you're consistent in having that accuracy, whereas other ships like the Marseille has the 1.8 Sigma, and the Stalingrad's got the 2.65 Sigma, which is super nice, right? So the Puerto Rico is just a weird little ship. I think that the ship in itself is okay. I would consider like to be anything phenomenal in the ship department as a whole package. But the one thing that frustrates the hell out of me about the Puerto Rico, and I don't really like it, was not only was when it first got introduced into the game in that dockyard event, and it was pretty exclusive, right? A very exclusive ship. Not many players had her. They also decided to make her Citadel completely underwater, which I think is a stupid idea anyways. I don't like the idea of ships, like cruisers and battleships, not being able to be citadelable. Like, there are some exceptions, like the Großer Kurfürst, the Preußen, the Republik. I understand that to some degree. Kind of hard to hit trolley citadels with turtlebacks and the spaced armor. But, like, the amount of ships we have nowadays, especially battleships that have, like, almost uncitadelable citadels, or you have to shoot them at this right angle with plunging fire here under the cheek, is like, I just find it incredibly frustrating and just stupid game design personally, because it's like we're rewarding the wrong kind of play styles, you know what I mean? But then when, cruiser players angle in their light cruisers and they create more armor threshold for the AP shells to pen, then they get dev struck and blown up. So it's like, it's just a really poor mix of game mechanics all filing in together and creating just the wrong idea for people. So, but like, here's an example. The Puerto Rico, I mean, the Jinon is a perfect target for the Puerto Rico. This is what we're made for. This is what we're playing the game for in regards of the Puerto Rico. And look at that. I mean, you get to sit it on a steep angle. I do believe the ship does have the improved ricochet angles, if I'm not mistaken, on her AP shells. 60 to 68 ricochet, right? Where the Marseille has a 40 to 60, and then the Stalingrad's got the 55 to 65. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely steeper, which is always nice to see. But again, I don't, or maybe it's not. No, it is. It's like similar to like the Monmouth, who has the same exact improved AP ricochet angle. So her AP is extremely potent and extremely effective on this vessel, as it has the heaviest broadside. You have 12 305 millimeter guns, so we're shooting the American heavy armor piercing shell. So you would expect as much, right? That's why you're getting her in that regard. Though you can't necessarily get her anymore. I don't even know if you can gamble for her in Santa crates. But I believe she came back for the dockyard event, and maybe we'll see a resurgence in her as well, like we saw now with the ZF9 or ZF6. Sorry, my bad. ZF6 ship came back with like crates or some stupid shit, which is stupid. I almost wish they would just create something in the research bureau that would be like, you can get past dockyard ships, and it like adds up. Let's say if like one dockyard you get 16 out of the 20 phases, but you don't get the ship because, like you say, you're away, you're working, whatever. You keep those 16 phases because those are 16 phases completed, and those 16 phases are added to like phase points. And then it has this whole list, like the Research Bureau, that has like all previous dockyard ships, and like you need like 50 phase points to get this ship. So all your dockyard ships that you don't get or acquire, or let's say you pay for it and you get like you pay out all 20 and get the Blucher, and then you're still doing the missions, you also get rewarded other phase points. You can accumulate these phase points through dockyard, and eventually you can get yourself a previous dockyard ship. I think would be a great idea. And I mean, you can add some exclusivity to that, like they're not added to that shop for like a year or two later. That's fine too. But there's so many dockyard ships that I feel bad that a lot of players just can't obtain anymore. And I think they're just missing a really good, ability to essentially have people make money and reward players to get these previous ships. I think it'd be a great ability for people to do that. So, but anyways, that's just my opinion. Who knows? I doubt that'll ever be implemented, because we want exclusiveness, we want that FOMO, we want that more encouraged to spend money, right? So whatever. So enough about that. Going back to the game. 4 kills, 79,000 damage. I mean, I swear to God, I'm not kill stealing. We just happen to be shooting targets and they're blowing up when they don't have too much HP. But here's an example. Mecklenburg, 10.5 kilometer broadside with AP. Oh yeah, 14,500 damage and some change. Like, that is the bread and butter of this ship. The one thing, though, I do see a lot of players do with the Puerto Rico that I would like to kind of put my 2 cents worth in. This is not a review. I'll do one down the road. Who knows when. Um, don't just shoot armor piercing. Yes, it is your bread and butter, and you should be shooting AP for the majority of the time, especially on certain targets that you're, supposed to be shooting. Definitely use the HE as well. The HE can be just as potent, especially when ships are bowing or ships that you really can't utilize your armor piercing. I mean, you're packing what for the HE shells? 4,300 damage, and a fire chance of 27%. That's 8.8 fires a minute. I mean, that's higher than the Marseille without the reload booster. Stalingrad's at 8.5. Yoshino's at 7.9. Like, the fire is capable with this vessel. Like, you can definitely utilize that fire chance. Now, sometimes, on a side note here, there are just those AP salvos that get you going. Like, that is like an awesome salvo, right? That would be one of those salvos right there. I love that salvo. Was just got me going, man. That is the shit. I even have to write in chat and, freaking stroke my own cock here, let everyone know that I thought that was a hot salvo. I don't know. No one else commented. I don't think anyone gives a fuck, but that's just me. At least there's some salvos that you're just seeing these shells coming in, and that's kind of what I was talking about with my USS Montana, which these are similar, like shells performing in that regard of like that floatiness with the drag coefficients and initial speed coming out of the guns. Like, this is 808 meters a second, so very, very similar, as the Montana is a little bit faster, I believe. But yeah, like you see it, these shells hang time a little higher. When they come in with that certain Krupp angle, man, it hits hard. And speaking about the drag coefficient, like the drag coefficient of the ship is 0.343, whereas like the Stalingrad is 0.242. Like, it's like, yeah, they're definitely more draggy and slower shells going down range. Like, you're gonna have to lead appropriate for the ship. That is one thing for sure, but it's very rewarding. And with those improved ricochet angles, man, it's like, even if they get there and the ship starts angling, if they don't angle enough, your chance of getting citadels is still very, very, very nice. So, but yeah, like, what a game. I mean, we're 6 kills deep. Too bad we didn't get one of the other ones there that would have got me to 7. I think the Hakuryu, I was close. I didn't quite get the 7. And the whole time I'm here, I'm like, well, I have 6 kills, 71,000 damage spotted, only about 500,000 damage tanked. But I only have like 150,000 damage. Like, is that going to be enough to potentially get an E rank? I'm like, yeah, I'm probably going to get like a rank 1, maybe. No way I'll finish with an E, but obviously the RNG's gods blessed me. And that was kind of my like key. I was like, wow, I couldn't believe this ship isn't performing better, but I understand now because this ship does burn and flood, I believe, the same lengths of battleships. That's like the big Achilles heel to these battle cruiser ships, right? They just have to kind of deal with that shit, which I think is an understanding balance factor, but I think at the same time they should be able to spec something in captain wise or module wise to help mitigate some damage, because there's just those games that you're just getting HE spammed constantly and you're like, Jesus Christ, it's so frustrating. But yeah, that would be my guess why I was able to freaking cheese out an E rank here on the ship. Not that they matter, I just think it was more of like a holy shit, I can't believe I got it, rather than oh, look at me, I'm fucking unreal in the Puerto Rico, you know what I mean? Because I'm not. Finishing with 179,000 damage, only 80 target hits, and you get that. I mean, that again, it's like battleship levels. If you play this ship similar to a battleship, I think you're playing the ship right. 9 citadels and 6 kills, baby. And that Hindenburg salvo, oh my god, that right there, ladies and gentlemen, was the shit. We are clocking in though on a base XP of 2.9 and 61, right? That's probably why. Again, the base XP thing with these expert level badges is just bullshit, because did I mean anything? All they mean is, yeah, I happened to play one game that I finished insanely high on the base XP, so I did well, and then I'm experiencing the ship. I'd much rather see it like out of 10 games, it takes the average of all your base XP and then gives you a final total of an average, and then you'd be judged on how you are with the ships. Rather than just one fucking game. Again, a swing and a miss, but that's just my opinion. I don't know. Not a big deal. But I thought I'd share this a little quick game with you guys to get a video out there, and let me know what you think of the Puerto Rico. So anyways, guys, have a good rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.